And the last thing, and this is really what most of my colleagues in the factory thought I'd come definitely from another planet, I'm trying to bring all of our production back to Scotland. It makes me more expensive, but it makes me unique. So that's what we're trying to do. We make probably today about 80% of what we do actually is made in our factory.
What is outsourced?
Today our modern golf clubs are outsourced, but I've made some changes and I'll even be able to do that in-house going forward. But yeah, today, up until this point, they're outsourced. As of next month, I'm going to start to be able to make some of this stuff in-house. And ideally, because what I try and tell the guys in the factory is, I'm almost in the events business as a manufacturer. People come into the factory, they see something being made, they get an emotional attachment to it, they say, I'd like some of that. They don't need this stuff. I mean, nothing we make actually is something you actually need. But because they've been to the factory, they've seen how these things are made, they talk to their staff, they get a bit of an emotional attraction to what it's all about, and the fact that we're the last ones, and therefore they want to leave with something. Well, that's what we focus on. So every time we have people in the factory, we make a big deal about making their experience almost as if they're a proper visitor, visiting rather than it just being a manufacturing plant. And then we have a chance to sell. And if we can make more and more things in the factory, we can then sell more stuff, because I think that's why, if you're coming all the way from the Far East, you're not going to buy a product that was made in the Far East. But if it was made in the factory, you might. Particularly if you know that that is relatively small quantities, and you've got, to a certain extent, some bragging rights when you go back to China. I mean, 95%, if not 99% of golf clubs today that are used in terms of modern golf clubs are made in China. Now, why on earth would somebody coming from Shanghai buy a set of golf clubs in my factory that were made probably down the road from where he's just come from? But if he saw them being made in the factory, he might. Because he knows then he could take something back which would be unique. And that's what we're going to try and develop more and more.